You're on.
All right, great. All right, so back to Job. Last week, of course, we talked about Eliphaz. And we talked about what was the problem with these three guys? They were saying, Job, you've got problems, admittedly, but the reason for these problems is what? Your sin. You know, and that's the theme throughout all of these discourses, is that they're saying, Job, you've got sin. Now, Eliphaz was wiser, he was older, he was kind of gentle in a way, but still he said some things which I'm sure hit Job pretty hard. But now we're going to go in, and we're not going to be talking about Eliphaz. Now remember, Eliphaz was this guy. This was Eliphaz speaking last week. This is actually Bildad. I'm not going to do it like I did last week. But remember, the first word that Eliphaz says is, well, will you let me say a word? You know, I just can't keep silent anymore. And so after Eliphaz is done with his speech, then Bildad comes on the scene here. And the first question that he says is, does God pervert justice? Certainly God would not forsake a perfectly righteous man, nor give aid to an evildoer. Certainly God would not forsake a perfectly righteous man. So Job, what is he saying Job is then?
You're not righteous.
You're not righteous. You know? Give me a break. And so this is Bildad. Bildad's a little bit brutal, and so we're going to see that as we go through here. Just a little bit on a couple of Bible dictionaries talking about Bildad. He's a descendant of Abraham by Keturah from Genesis 5:1 and 2 apparently. Shua and his brethren were located in Shua. That's because he's Bildad the Shuhite. Right? Shua and his brethren were located in Arabia, Petrea, and thus Bildad the Shuhite was a neighbor and friend of Joab, came to condole him in his affliction. His chief topics are the suddenness, swiftness, and the terribleness of God's wrath upon hypocrites and oppressors. Thanks a lot. Put your arm around him, and he's going to really help Job out. The name, there's some contention about this, but some think the name Bildad means son of contention. One of Job's friends, he's called the Shuhite, probably is belonging to Shua, a district in Arabia in which Shua, the sixth son of Abraham by Keturah, settled. He took part in each of the three controversies into which Job's friends entered with him, and he delivered three speeches. All of them were very severe and stern in their tone, although less violent than those of Zophar. We haven't reached Zophar yet. But more so than those of Eliphaz. All right, so Bildad's kind of the second guy, and we're going to see that the speeches of Job's friends are going to get rougher and rougher as we go through here. It's called the Shuhite, family nation, nothing new there. All right, so here we go. This is Bildad. Let's see what he says. Then Bildad the Shuhite answered and says, how long will you say these things? And how long will the words of your mouth be a mighty wind? Now listen, folks, I just want to tell you something as a teacher. I wouldn't appreciate it if you said this to me. Your lessons, it just sounds like a mighty wind coming out, like a bunch of hot air. Yeah?
Is it all right if we do it in code?
You could do, yeah.
How are Job 8:2?
All right. Yeah. Dennis, you're just reminding me of Job 8:2 right now.
NIV says a blustering.
There you go, and that's maybe even worse. Blustering. I know people like that.
You're the Santa Ana wind.
All right, so well, that's what it's like. That's what it's like. It's something. It's just a little bit. It's just hot air. It's just a destructive thing, and what follows is usually fire. So, does God pervert justice, or does the Almighty pervert what is right? So, what is Bildad saying right here? Knowing Job's circumstances, what is Bildad saying to Job by saying, does God pervert justice, or does the Almighty pervert what is right?
Obviously, no.
All right. How about a raised hand? A lot of mumbling. Yes.
Job is a sinner. Or you being unjust.
I'm sorry.
Probably you're not being unjust. You're being unjust. You have been unjust in whatever you've done.
Okay. He's saying to Job, you've been unjust. Obviously, because God doesn't pervert justice. In other words, if this is happening to you, it's happening for a reason, and you caused it, buddy. God doesn't pervert justice. And so, well, I mean, it's true that God's justice is right. I mean, isn't that's a true statement? and yet they're applying it, and this is the whole problem with these friends, is they give us a lot of truth, and then they apply it the wrong way. And that's why it's so important for us to know how to apply truth. And it's important for us also, one of the objectives, I think, of going through Job is to learn how to be friends to people, is to learn how to be comforters. We want to be encouragers. Well, they're not really doing that with Job. We're not really, we're going to have to design a Barnabas test. Are you appropriate for this class? Do you know how to encourage? Yes.
I don't know.
Somebody designed that.
I don't know if this is the time, but something happened to me just yesterday evening.
Probably is
A
the
good
time.
friend who's been diagnosed with hepatitis C,
Hepatitis C. Okay.
and she's about to start treatments. And
Her brothers have said, well, you must deserve this. Look at your lifestyle. Look at your friends, who happen to be one, and she pointed that out. She says, they don't know me. And I thought, because of the situation, I told her about Job. Kind of in a nutshell, I had to, kind of abbreviate it. And I said that was the very thing his friends were telling him it was his fault. And I said, it's not about that.
No, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, it's great. And Job could help in that situation, but there is a certain sense of, well, if your lifestyle does it, I mean.
But they don't know her lifestyle.
Who?
These are her brothers.
Oh, these are her brothers, and they don't know it. They were just making a lucky guess.
And they're saying, well, it's because of this and that.
All right.
It's an early
They're
blood.
condemning.
Assuming she has a bad lifestyle because she's got this problem.
Correct. That's the point.
They made an
Oh,
assumption.
they were making the
Correct.
assumption that that's her. Okay.
That's
Well,
what
then
I'm
that's preposterous.
But exactly, but my point.
Oh, and she wasn't into Job. She didn't get that yet.
No.
Oh, perfect. Well, I hope she got.
That was kind of the point.
Oh,
I said,
awesome.
I'm going to tell you in a nutshell that they assumed he was unrighteous. They assumed he was
Oh,
unrighteous.
sweet. Oh, I get it. That's
Yeah, and I
great.
said it wasn't about that.
That's great. I hope that was an encouragement to her. So does God pervert justice? In other words, he doesn't turn things around. Obviously, if you've been slammed, God is being righteous because that was the right thing for God to do, is slam you, Job. And so that's the whole point. And what none of them knew, of course, was what we know, what went on behind the scenes in this whole thing. That's the most amazing thing, is that all of this goes on, and we have more knowledge about what the whole reason was, why it was going on. And it's part of what causes this to be such a difficult book, I think, for us to wrap our hands around and to understand it. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I use that picture just because it's like a knife in the back. And because look at this. If your sons sinned against him, then he delivered them into the power of their transgression. I mean, what is he saying about his sons? His children. Yeah, they deserve to die. Oh, thanks, Bildad. That's great. That's a wonderful. That's an encouraging. That's really nice. Yeah. I mean, I could just imagine.
Missed that. What did he say?
What? You missed what I said?
Just now, when you said, somebody said that's nice.
Oh,
Well,
it's-
I didn't hear that.
Oh, well, we were making fun of. It's a horrible thing to say. It's what I'm saying. It's just like, this is why Bildad is called Bildad the Brutal. All right? If your son sinned against him, then he delivered them into the power of their transgression. If you would seek God and implore the compassion of the Almighty, if you are pure and upright, surely now he would rouse himself for you and restore your righteous estate. Though your beginning was insignificant, and when he says, though your beginning, he's saying, well, right now, he's saying, hey, if you'll just confess to God, then what's God going to do? He's going to forgive him, and God's going to do what? He's going to bless him with what? And did that happen? Yes, it happened. But is this true that God will do that?
Not always.
In one sense, because there's a spiritual blessing for all of this, but can you tell somebody, hey, if you just ask God for forgiveness, he's going to bless you, he's going to give you everything that you ever wanted, he's going to make you rich, he's going to give you everything back? No, this is retribution theology. This is, hey, I got God in a box. Here's what you want to be blessed by God? Do this. Put $100 in the offering plate, you'll be blessed. You know, you hear that so much. No, that's not how God works. It may be that you will be blessed in the future, and that blessing is more significant, more weighty than anything that we can think of right now. But the point is, don't be